Erin McAuliffe. I am a leader. Hi, everybody. As you come in, say hello. I'm just going to introduce myself before we get started. Say hello, hello. Tonight we're going to talk about getting out of our own way. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Amy. Okay, so like I said, my name is Erin McAuliffe, and I am a team leader here at Vic, and I am so excited to be here. I am super nervous, and I have no idea why, because I have literally done this like a million times, but I am super, super nervous. And I think that that's just kind of the way it works. Like when you know you have a good message, like you want the delivery to be amazing. So I'm going to do my best to do that. With that being said, when I get nervous, sometimes my brain works a lot faster than my mouth. And one of my strong points isn't necessarily speaking to big groups. So you're going to catch me saying like or and that doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just my brain or my mouth trying to catch up with my brain. Hey, Rhonda, what's up, girl? So let's dig in here. Just make sure that, oh, thank you. Thank you. So let's make sure that, take a deep breath, Erin, you're okay. As everybody's coming in, I want to talk about last night. Last night in the Glow Crew chat, or the Glow Crew team page, I asked you guys a question. And I asked you, I said, what are some of the things that you failed at, and why do you think that you failed at it? So we don't often talk about that kind of stuff, right? Hey, we don't often talk about that kind of stuff. Usually we try to stay pretty positive and we try to stay really focused. But in my opinion, it's really important to understand where we've been so that we know where we're going, okay? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, getting out of our own way. So when I said that, I want to first of all thank everyone who responded. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the interaction. And I kind of did that for you to kind of get your brain juices going. And I did it for me to understand, to make sure that what I was thinking was really true for everyone. So, and let me go back. So it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. Ashley, if she talked a little bit on the corporate about being, with our emotions and people want to know who we are. That's not my strong point, okay? That's something that I'm working on. Just because nobody likes that feeling. Nobody likes to feel exposed. So when you guys share that, that really meant a lot to me because you don't know me very well. And I mean, we're all kind of just getting to know each other. So I really appreciated you guys being vulnerable and open and sharing those and answering my questions. So I myself have failed often. Like almost on a daily basis, and I've always had like an explanation or a story as to why I failed. So let me make sure that I am where I need to be. Why do you think that it is? In the comments, I want you to write your answer here. Why do you think that there is such a stigma attached to failure? Why is it that everybody is trying so hard not to fail? Write it in the comments. Tell me why you think there's such a stigma attached to that. While you're writing that out, I want to share just a little bit about me. So I hold a bachelor's of science in human services with an emphasis of children and family services. I've worked literally with like thousands of family, and I consider myself with thousands of families. I consider myself an expert in that field and working and coaching families. Okay, so I worked in child welfare. Most of you may know that as CPS. So I did the initial investigations in regards to abuse and neglect of children. So, like I said, I've worked with thousands of families in different circumstances. So nothing that you say to me will ever shock me. You will never get a shocked reaction from this girl, okay? Concern, yes, maybe concern, but never shock. I swear I've heard it all. I don't think there's anything anybody could say. Okay, so you guys have said, because everyone wants to be a success. Rhonda said social media expects us to be perfect. Amen. They don't want people to think poorly of them. Yes, social media is another one. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, from my point of view and my expertise of working with children, in my opinion, and science backs this, okay? Hey girl, what's up? Science backs this. It really, the stigma of failure really starts as a child. When a child fails, because they literally come into this world knowing nothing, right? They just have their basic instincts, like how to suck, when they need to sleep, when they need to go to the bathroom, and that's it. That's it. Everything else is a learned behavior. So when a child makes a mistake or has a failure, as adults, it's our responsibility to correct that so that they learn the difference between right and wrong and what's safe and what's unsafe and et cetera, et cetera. But with that, there's consequences, right? When we have children, oftentimes there's consequences. For example, you're not picking up your toys, so I'm going to pick them up and then you're going to be without your toys. So the child has the consequence of not having their toys, and they're feeling the pain of losing something that they like and maybe being bored. Another thing that might be is if a child is being disrespectful or does something that a parent doesn't like, we might spank their bottom, right? So then they're going to associate that mistake with pain. They're going to associate it with getting a spanking. So making a mistake results in pain. And that really carries on to adulthood. We associate our failures with pain. If I don't succeed at my business, I'm not going to be able to go shopping. If I don't succeed at my business, I'm not going to pay my electric bill. That's painful, like not having heat in the winter or not being able to buy your kid basketball shoes. That's painful. If I quit my job that I'm already making good money at and transition to something else and something new, if I fail at that, everybody's going to be I'm going to be embarrassed. Everybody's going to laugh at me. That's painful. That's hurtful, right? Our brains are literally hardwired to avoid pain. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I know I am. Let me look at my notes here. So we're going to get back to that. Let me get back on track. So there are two common denominators when I talk to people about their goals and about their dreams. And when I start to ask questions to really get an understanding, and even for myself, Ashley can vouch for this. There's two things that are really associated, two things that are barriers to those dreams and to those goals. And one of them is fear, and the second one is failure. Okay? Everybody has fear. Everybody has failures. Okay, so back to when I asked my question on the team page. Every single one of you, including myself, and I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm preaching at them because I am totally guilty of this, but every single person that named a failure named things like lack of education, lack of leadership, lack of money, lack of self-confidence. You know, there was lots of different things, but it always boiled down to resources. Because those things, education, money, confidence, those are all resources, okay? So I spend a lot of time on self-development. I want you to remember that. I spend a lot of time on self-development. And one of my favorite speakers is Tony Robbins. If you've never heard of him, go look him up on YouTube. He is absolutely amazing, and he motivates me, and I love listening to him. And a lot of this speech comes from his motivational speech. It's my take. So if you haven't heard of him, like I said, go look him up. One of the videos that I watched, Tony says in there, change your story, change your life. So when I first heard that, I was like, change your story. Like, do I just make something up? Or like, do I have to like reinvent the wheel? Like come up with some elaborate, my wheel's better than yours? Well, that's not what he meant at all. And it took a while for it to click. Like I actually listened to this speech like probably 4 or 5 times. Probably more than that. My kids get so tired of it. But what I came to realize is what he was actually talking about was wasn't meaning like to actually like rewrite my story. It is rewriting it, but it's more rewriting it in your mind. Okay. So it's a total mind shift, if you will. What makes more sense to me, and what made more sense to me when I really thought about it and when I was coming up with this, is to change your thinking. If you change your thinking, you're going to change your life. If you change your thinking, you're going to change your life. Now let's take another look at the question. Have you ever failed and why? Every person, like I said, named a resource for the reason that they failed. Time, education, leadership, confidence, those are all resources. But what happens if we let our mind shift? What happens if we change, I failed because of insert your resource. I failed because I didn't have enough time, or I failed because I didn't have good leadership. What if we changed it to I failed because I wasn't resourceful enough? Write that down. Write that down. What if, I just spit everywhere. That was gross. So what if we changed it from, I want to make sure I get it right. I failed because, insert your resource, to I failed because I wasn't resourceful enough. So using my own situations, okay, you guys can use, this is something you have to really think about on your own. I can't do it for you, but for me, it was, I failed to grow my network because I wasn't true to my morals and my values. What? I failed to grow my network because I wasn't true to my morals and my beliefs. I failed to make a sale because I did not plan out my week. See, instead of saying I didn't have time to work my business, I failed to plan out my week, right? I failed to connect with people because I scrolled TikTok instead of building those relationships. I mean, literally, I could go on and on, but giving you guys examples of ways that I fail on a daily basis. You see, lack of resources is never really the problem, you guys. It's never really the problem. The lack of resources is never the problem. There are tons of resources. We have resources in our pockets on our cell phones. We got Google. We got an app. We got, what else do we have? There's all kinds of resources. I can go on and on. But you know, you have top leadership. You have a mentor. You have corporate who's supportive. We have all kinds of resources here, you guys. Oh, sorry, phone was ringing. Okay. So the problem is we aren't resourceful enough. We don't take advantage of our gifts. We don't take advantages of our resources. The greatest resource that we all have, you guys, I want you to write this down. The greatest resource that is available in this industry, well, really life in general, but specifically in this industry, is emotion. Emotion is your strongest resource, okay? Emotion is stronger than logic, okay? Think about this. Logic doesn't start wars. Emotion does. Logic doesn't start a relationship. Emotion does. Emotion can end a relationship. Emotion will drive you to work your business all night long until you hit your goals. Emotion will also make you quit. You can take that to the bank. Emotion is more powerful than logic. Okay, so if we do not learn to become a master of our emotions, we will always blame the lack of resources. It is not until we are accountable for our part that we can truly step into our purpose and dig deep into our gifts. I also believe that it's important to understand that it's easier said than done. I can sit here and tell you that. I could, but it really is harder to make that mind shift. And until it really clicks to you, or until you make a conscious decision to do it, it's difficult. It is difficult. Once again, the reason that is because our brains are literally hardwired to avoid pain. To avoid pain. It's much easier to blame someone or something else rather than to be accountable and feel the pain of disappointment, the pain of embarrassment, and all those ucky other feelings that go along with failure. The same can be applied to fear, you guys. Fear is absolutely a debilitating attribute, okay? It is absolutely debilitating. When we are fearful, our bodies are wired to fight or flight. That is an automatic response. Either you are going to fight or you're going to run away. You're going to avoid it. Most people are going to choose to flee. Okay? That's just the way it is. There's very few people, depending on the situation, that are going to stay and fight. So you can either face the fear head on or you'll avoid it, whatever is causing the fear. For example, many people on this call, including myself, recently have been presented with this opportunity here at Vic. Okay? Some people, this opportunity was an absolute no-brainer. They're like, yes, I'm doing this. I wasn't one of those people. You could ask Ashley. I was not one of those people. I had all the questions. I wanted all the answers. I wanted to understand everything, right? My fear in me was like, I do not want to start over. How do I leave something that I worked 18 months to build? And I'm not going to tell you guys that I've been a top leader and that I've been the top of the company. I've done well for myself, but I have other things in mind and plans, right? So I don't want you to think that like, I wasn't like emerald or anything or, way up there, but I had a good position and I was happy. So I didn't want to start over, and it literally made my stomach hurt. It made my stomach hurt. And finally, I was talking to Ashley when I was thinking about coming, and I was like, you know what, Ashley, like this all sounds really good. I'm so scared. And she said, Erin, you know what? I was the exact same way. You're the person that can make this decision. You're the only person that can make this decision. Take your time, think it out. And that's what I did. And ultimately I decided, and boy, am I glad that I did. So before I decided, I had to shift my thinking. I had to start being more resourceful. I had to look at what was best for my team. I had to look what was best for my future teammates. I had to look what was best for my customers. I had to look what was best for my family. And ultimately, I had to look at what's best for me. I had to make sure that my morals and my beliefs aligned with what I was doing. So what did I align with, and where was God leading me? That was the other part. Where was God leading me? There was like a whole day that was all I did. I prayed about it. I was like, what are you going to do, God? Here I am. What are you going to do? I quit asking God, what do you want me to do? Because that's not the right question. The right question is, God, what are you going to do? And then be still and listen. Okay. And I literally wrestled, like when this opportunity was very first presented to me, I wrestled with those thoughts for over a month, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, this, but when I finally committed, I did. And I thank God every day. So let's explore the other side of this, though, for training purposes, okay? What if things didn't go well? What if I came here and nobody followed me? Did my whole team follow me? No. Did some of my team? Yeah, but not everybody. What if none of my customers could get on board with what I was doing? What if they couldn't get on board with my adventure? What if they couldn't get on board? What if they didn't trust me? It's important to look at this because all of these things could have happened. That could have been the case. And it might be your case. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I could have gone live, explained what I was doing, and waited. 1 or 2 people may have seen the video and supported me, and I could have just sat back and blamed the resources, right? I could have just sat back and said, well, I knew it. I knew it wasn't going to work. I should have just stayed put, right? However, I was resourceful, and I used the resources of time management, education, resource of communications, and many others to ensure that I was making the connections with the people that wanted to connect with me. I am being completely honest. I'm still digging into my resourcefulness. Like, I've only been here, I think, well, today is 3 weeks. I joined the 12th of October. So this is 3 weeks. So when I'm embracing that, when I'm digging into that, into my resources, I have to embrace the rejection. Okay? In this industry, there's rejection. There's no avoiding it, you guys. If you it's never anything personal, but you have to embrace it and understand that people's knee-jerk reactions are to say no. And it's just part of the industry. Some people will, some people won't. So what? Who's next? I embrace the fear. I have social anxiety. Matter of fact, last Friday, I haven't had an anxiety attack in months. And I freaked out, like crying on my bed. What the heck did I just do? Oh my gosh. And it's not because I wasn't doing well. It was just the weight of everything, and I finally felt safe enough that I could release it, right? And I have to embrace the thought of failure. The difference is I let those things add fire and drive, okay? I let the thought of rejection and the thought of fear and failure, I let it add to my fire and my drive. I let my passion of helping others live better lives be louder. I let that be louder than the rejection, and I let it be bigger than the fear. If you're letting fear of failure or any other self-limiting thoughts hold you back, stop. Just stop. It is time for a mind shift. It's time to get uncomfortable and really honest with yourself. It's time for you to step out of your comfort zone and make some real shifts. I once heard, and this has always stuck with me, and I want every single one of you guys to write this down. Somebody put it in the comments. Success is not found in your comfort zone. If it was, everybody would have it. Success is not found in your comfort zone. If it was found in your comfort zone, everybody would have it. You have to become a master of your emotions and embrace the fact that failure and fear is part of success, not the opposite of it. Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't. Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Successful people become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Are you tired? Yeah. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah. Are you nervous? Do you have anxiety? Yeah. It's uncomfortable. Get comfortable with it. Because the more comfortable you come with those feelings, the easier it is to push past it. Okay? The easier it is to push past it. If you become accepting and you embrace it, it's easier to push through. And that's not just in this business, that's in life in general. Life in general. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's time to get out of your own way and let go and let God. That's what I have for you. That is the message I had for you. I appreciate every one of you hopping on. I don't read comments while I'm live because I am a squirrel. The ADHD gets to me. So I'm going to go back through after I finish up here and I will answer your comments and any questions that you had. Thank you so much for giving me time away from your family, and I hope that you guys have a blessed night.